Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affair analysis of Shankar IAS Academy, 18th July 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we will be discussing today. And without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first topic. Gujarat launches India's first tribal genome project to tackle inherited diseases. The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently, the Gujarat became the first Indian state to launch a genome sequencing project for the tribal communities. And why the state took such an initiative, we will discuss. And this project was announced in 2025-26 state budget, and this is implemented by the Gujarat Biotechnology Research Center. And under this project, nearly 2,000 tribal individuals will be studied across 17 districts in the state of Gujarat. So why the state of Gujarat took such an initiative? So we can see that Gujarat, which is located in the western part of the nation, and it is sharing border with the three important states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. And look at this map. This map is taken from the website of the Tribal Development Department of the state of Gujarat, and here you can see the areas inhabited by the tribal community in the state of Gujarat. And according to the census of 2011, the state of Gujarat, the tribal communities in the state of Gujarat accounts for nearly 8.1% of the total tribal communities in India. And if you take the Gujarat alone, you can see that the total tribal population comes around 14% of the out of the total population in the state of Gujarat. And the various important tribal communities like Bill, they are the largest tribal community in the state of Gujarat, and they are living in the border area of Gujarat. And we recently discussed this bill when we discussed the Bij Utsav, right? Bij Utsav was held in the state of Rajasthan, and the Bill community was one of the three important communities participated in the Bij Utsav. And this Bill community, they are known for their traditional knowledge for the preservation of the seed. And therefore, understanding their knowledge is also very important to promote the natural farming in the nation. And you can also see that the 2011 census also identified nearly 5 important, particularly vulnerable tribal groups in the state of Gujarat. For example, Katodi, Kotwalia, and Siddhi, Padar, like that nearly, and Kolga. So like that, nearly 5 important particular vulnerable tribal groups are also identified in the state of Gujarat. So this shows the importance of projects like the genome sequencing project in the state of Gujarat. And recently we can see that in the national level, we launched a lot of initiatives. For example, Genome India project. Genome India project was launched by the government of India with an objective to study nearly 10,000 genomes in India to understand the genetic variation, mutation, as well as the health conditions of different population in different parts of the country. And recently we can see that the Indian Institute for Science, which is located in Bangalore, they launched an initiative called Bharat. So this Bharat initiatives, the objective of this Bharat initiative is development of Indian-based biomarkers. So through this we can go for a more precision healthcare for Indians. And coming to the question, what is genome? Genome is a complete set of DNA in an organism containing all the genetic instructions about that organism. So simply we can consider this genome as a set of code. So what is meant by genome sequencing? Decoding the code is what is meant by the genome sequencing. That means the process of decoding the DNA to identify the genetic variations, which will be very helpful in detecting the inherited diseases among the various population in India as well as in different parts of the world. So what is the significance of initiatives like the present initiative of the state of Gujarat or the Genome India project or Bharat initiative? First is targeting the early detection of various conditions like sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, as well as hereditary cancers. For example, if you take the certain tribal communities, which are close to the rainforest, they have the sickle cell trait, so which makes them immune towards malaria. But at the same time, we can see that among these tribal communities, the sickle cell anemia is there. And thalassemia, it's another condition. It is a condition where the body cannot produce the enough hemoglobin. So, and the next is the hereditary cancers. For example, if you take the cancer rates, we can see that the cancer rates are very high among the Caucasian population. So, this type of knowledge can be occurred only when if you go for the genetic based studies. And this also enables precision healthcare using tribal specific genetic data. So we can integrate the data that we collect from this present project of Gujarat into national database, which will be useful for the tribal communities living in the other areas who are facing the similar health conditions or similar health problems. And the next is the building a reference genome database to improve the long-term tribal health and empowers tribal communities with a tech-based healthcare solutions. So we can see that traditionally the tribal communities, they are using the traditional medicines, but due to the changes, due to the mutations among the microbes, this traditional medicines may not be effective. Therefore, integrating the new technology, new knowledge is very important, but at the same time we have to respect the tradition as well as their customs. Therefore, then only we can go for an inclusive development. So I hope you understood this topic, and with this we will move to the prelims practice question. So the question is, with reference to the genome sequencing project launched by Gujarat, consider the following statements. Statement 1, Gujarat aims to build a genetic database of tribal population for targeted healthcare. Yes. And statement 2, it will help detect both genetic disorder and enhanced personalized treatment. Yes. And the genome sequencing can only be done at the national level, not by individual states. No, because the Gujarat is conducting now. Therefore, the statement 3 is incorrect, while the statement 1 and 2 are correct. Therefore, the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. So let's check the answer. Yes, the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. With this, we will move to the next article. Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana, the new scheme to develop 100 agri districts across the country. The article is taken from the Indian Express. On Wednesday, the Union Cabinet approved the initiative, that is the PM Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana, which is aiming to develop 100 agriculture districts across the country. And this scheme is aiming to converge nearly 36 schemes under 11 ministries for the holistic development of the agriculture sector. So let us discuss more about this initiative from the prelims point of view. So why it is in the news? Because in July, that is on Wednesday, the Union Cabinet approved the PM Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana to develop 100 agriculture districts across the country, and this initiative was inspired from the Aspirational District Program of India. And we know that what is the principle, right? The Aspirational District Program means development of the districts. So here the the central, state, and the district level authorities will be aligned, and there will be the division of resources based on planning, and after that the districts will compete against each other. So this will ensure a competitive, at the same time a healthy development from the grassroots level. And maybe we can say that this was the idea used after the Russian Revolution for the development of various backward regions in Russia. And after that, India, after independence, we adopted this scheme. And like I mentioned, it converges nearly 36 schemes under 11 ministries, and every year the allocation is 20,000 crore. And what is the focus? Crop diversification, so which will help us to reduce the dependence on few crops. So this will ensure the diversified nutrition to the people. The next is enhancing or developing the irrigation facility, providing credit to the rural area, developing the post harvest storage facility, and also promoting the natural farming, because we know that we have India is also giving importance to organic farming. We have a separate mission for that, and recently the Ministry of Agriculture, they also have a plan to develop nearly 10,000 bio input resource centers across the country. So this scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana, will boost such initiatives. So coming to the more details about this initiative, it was announced by the Finance Minister in the budget 2025-26, and it targets to transform the districts suffering from low productivity, moderate crop intensity, and also planning to help the farmers in the district who are facing the problem of credit facility. And the next is the facing the problem of lack of credit facility. And the next is implementation will be done through district Dhan-Dhaanya Samiti, which will include the progressive farmers and the district collector. So like I already mentioned at the beginning, this is inspired from the Aspirational District Program. So one of the features of this Aspirational District Program is the collaboration between the central, state, and the district level. And the next is technical support for the scheme will be provided by the central and the state agriculture universities, and the central nodal ministers will be appointed for regular monitoring of the initiative. And the ranking of the districts will be based on 117 key performing indicators via dashboard. So like I mentioned, another feature of the Aspiration District Program is the competition, healthy competition between the districts. So this is the another feature. So here also we can see that the districts will be ranked based on 117 key performing indicators. And what are the objectives? So like I mentioned, transforming the 100 agriculture districts in India. That is the major objective. How we can transform this? Through enhancing the productivity and the crop diversification, through improving the irrigation facility and the soil health, and augmenting the post-harvest storage at the panchayat and block level, because we can see that if there is no post-harvest storage facility, then it will lose, the product will lose its value. It will perish easily. So therefore, ensuring proper post-harvest facility is very important to protect the farmers as well. And the next is expanding the natural or organic farming, because we have a separate mission, natural farming mission for that. And this scheme will also boost such initiatives. And now we are also planning for establishment of 10,000 bio input resources across the resource centers across the country. And the next is improve long-term and short-term credit availability to the farmers. Lack of credit facility and the lack of security is one of the major reasons why these days the farmers are not getting into agriculture. So this can be addressed if we can provide a long and a short-term credit facility with low interest through formal medium. So in this topic we discussed the basics about the Pradhan Mantri Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, the aspirational district program on which Pradhan Mantri Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana is modeled is based on which of the following principles? Option A, reforms, revenue and result. Option B, convergence, collaboration and competition. Option C, planning, productivity and performance. And option D, innovation, infrastructure and inclusion. See, like I mentioned, the one of the principles of the aspirational district program is the alignment, a strong alignment between the district, state level and national level authorities. So therefore, the convergence and collaboration is the one of the principles. And the next is the healthy competition between the districts. So the districts will compete each other, so that will ensure a healthy competition and growth. Therefore, the correct answer is option B. Convergence, collaboration and competition is the correct answer. It is the principle of the aspirational district program, and on that principle only now we framed this Pradhan Mantri Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana. So let's check. Yes, the correct answer is option B, and with this we will move to the next article. What is black hole merger? The article is taken from The Hindu. In 2023, the gravitational wave observatories of USA, Italy and Japan reported about a cosmic event called black hole merger, and on 10th July 2025 the scientific community have confirmed that this cosmic event is happening in the universe, that is merger of two black holes into a mega one. And currently the scientific community has named this event as GW 231123. And what is this event? That is merger of two black holes. Two black holes with a mass of 137 and 103 solar masses have merged into one mega black hole. And this is currently questioning about the origin, theories about the origin of black hole, because currently we are believing that the black holes are originated when a star with a mega mass dies, right? The death of the star results into the formation of black holes. So we have to, before moving into the article, we have to discuss what are the technologies that we are using to identify or detect these type of mega events. So currently, to understand about the merger of the black holes, we have used the technology called the gravitational wave detection. So for that, we have different gravitational wave observatories across the countries. For example, USA, they are using the LEGO, that is a laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory, right? And for Italy, they have a visual interferometer research gravitational wave observatory, and for Japan, they have a Kamioka gravitational wave observatory. So this gravitational wave, this observatories will capture the ripple effect caused by the release of gravitational wave from the black hole. The black holes, they are known for immense gravity, right? They have nothing can escape from the black hole, right? Even the light cannot escape from the black hole, and that is why we were not able to take the picture of the black hole for a very long time. But finally in 2019, using the Event Horizon telescope, we took the picture of black hole. I will show you the picture shortly. And so what happens, this black hole is known for immense gravity. So what happens, the gravitational force will be released in the form of wave, and this wave, the release of the gravitational wave will release a ripple effect in the universe, and this ripple effect will be captured by the gravitational detection observatories, and that will be used for studying the mega events like the black hole merger in the universe, and also about the formation and death of black holes. So coming to the black hole merger, like I already mentioned, the two black holes with a with a solar mass of 137 and 103 are currently merged into one, and this event is named as GW 231123, right? And so what is a black hole merger? Like I mentioned, two black holes will spiral inward, so they may be there for billions of years, but finally after losing their energy because they are releasing the gravitational wave, they will come closer, they will rotate, they will orbit each other, and finally they will merge into one mega black hole. So why this event GW 231123 is unique? Because very high mass, because the merger of the two mega black holes turns into a big black hole. And the next is the spin, because the high spinning, the rotation will be faster, and it is also giving a possibility about the hierarchical growth of black hole, because currently we are believing, like I mentioned, currently we are believing in the theory that the death of the star with a mega mass is resulting in the formation of black hole. But this can be questioned by another theory, that is the hierarchical growth of black holes. So we can also consider that this black holes that we are seeing in the universe can may be a result of hierarchical growth. That means because of the merger of different black holes in the different point of time. And what is the significance? Like I mentioned, shows that the larger black holes may be from mergers. So this is not just because of dying stars. So this is questioning the present base theory about the formation of black hole. And the next is it improves the understanding about the cosmic evolution. So what is mean by a black hole? Black hole, as of now, we are believing that it is a collapsed star with a gravity, so that even light cannot escape. So here you can see the picture of the black hole. So here you can see it is a diagram actually. So here you can see the different components of the black hole. For example, we have the singularity. Here you can see that immense density is there, and here you can see the event horizon. It is a border. We can consider it as a border. Once you cross the border, nothing can escape from the black hole. And the next is the accretion disk. So every black holes may not have accretion disk, but if there is accretion disk, it is a collection of various gas and dust particles. And next we have the ergosphere. Ergosphere, it is a place where the space-time is dragged into the black hole. So here you can see the picture of the real black hole. So we took the picture of the black hole, which is located nearly 55 million light years away from Earth. So in 2019, using the Event Horizon telescope, we took the picture of this black hole. And if you want the more clarity, so here you can see somehow this picture is taken from the Interstellar movie. So the black hole will look something similar to this only. So far the best picture, real picture that we have taken is this one that was taken in 2019 using the Event Horizon telescope. So in this topic we discussed what is black hole merger, and how this new event is, this cosmic event is questioning about the origin of the theories about the origin of black hole, and what is the significance we discussed. And next we also discussed the basic facts about the black hole which can be seen in the universe. So with this we will practice a prelims question. So the question is, consider the following statements about the black hole mergers. Statement 1, gravitational waves from the black hole mergers can be detected using optical telescopes. No, it can be detected only using the gravitational wave observatory system, right? And therefore we can eliminate the option statement 1. So if we can eliminate the statement 1, we can directly come to the answer. The answer is option B, 3 only. So what is statement 2? The LIGO observatory in India is currently operational and has contributed to the discovery of. No, the LIGO observatory is located in USA, not in India. Therefore the statement 2 is also incorrect. While the statement 3, the black hole mergers helps the scientists understand the formation of heavy black holes and the evolution of galaxies. Yes, now we can think about the possibility of hierarchical growth of mega black holes, right? So in this way it gives more insights into the cosmic events that is happening in the universe. So the correct answer is option B, 3 only. So with this we will move to the next article. National Human Rights Commission issues notice to Delhi and the UP government over drowning of 2 kids in public places. The article is taken from The Hindu. So a few days back, that is on 7th July, the National Human Rights Commission issued notice to the concerned authorities of Delhi and the UP government seeking a detailed report into the death of 2 kids in public places. So the incident is in the northwestern part of Delhi. a 4-year-old kid fell into an open drainage and lost his life. And similarly, in Greater Noida, which is in Uttar Pradesh, another 6-year-old boy fell into the water fountain in the open park and he lost his life. So the negligence of the authorities resulted into loss of life of 2 innocent kids, and which is indirectly violating the basic right of a citizen to live safely in a nation. And now that is on 7th July, the National Human Rights Commission has issued notice seeking detailed report into this incident, and the concerned authorities has to submit the report within 2 weeks. So let us discuss more about the statutory body, National Human Rights Commission, from the prelims point of view. So coming to the status and mandate, we can see that it is a statutory body established under the Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993, and later, after the enactment, it got amended 2 times, one in 2006 and another in 2019, which is in the recent time. And it is a non-constitutional body. It is a statutory body established under the Protection of Human Rights. So not this, it is not a constitutional body. And coming to the mandate, so they are, they have the responsibility to promote and protect the human rights and the rights which are concerned with the life, liberty, equality, and the dignity of the people. So not that the dignity, even the preamble also ensures the people to live with the right to live with the dignity. So you cannot violate a person's dignity using your verbal action or your physical action. That is also against the constitution, and that is against the rights of the people. And it also covers violation by the public servants and the negligence of the public servants, like in the case of the UP and Delhi. And coming to the composition, the members of the National Human Rights Commission, the chairperson will be a former Chief Justice of India. As of as per the 2019 amendment, it can be also a former Supreme Court judge. It is not necessary to be a Chief Justice of India. And other members includes the judge from Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of High Court, and 3 members. Earlier it was 2. After the amendment of 2019, now it is 3 members. They have a special knowledge in the field of human rights activism and human rights. And the ex officio members of the commission includes the chairpersons of National Commission for SC, ST, women, minorities, backward classes, and also the protection of child rights and rights of persons with disabilities. And coming to the appointment of members of the National Human Rights Commission, you can see that the appointment is done by the President of India based on the recommendation of a high-level 6-member committee consists of Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker, Union Minister, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha, and also the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. And coming to the tenure of the members of National Human Rights Commission, so usually it is 3 years or 70 years, whichever it is coming earlier, and they are eligible for reappointment, and the members can submit their resignation letter. So regarding the resignation letter will be submitted before the President of India. Coming to the removal, even though the National Human Rights Commission is not a constitutional body, the members of the National Human Rights Commission cannot be removed easily. So they can be removed only by the President of India on specified grounds like proved misbehavior or proved incapacity, and the removal will be done only after the inquiry of the Supreme Court, which is similar to the other high offices. We can see that we cannot remove easily the judges of High Court or the Supreme Court, and for that we have something called the Judges Inquiry Act, right? Judges Inquiry Act of 1961. So based on that only we can remove the based on that provisions only we can remove the judges of Supreme Court or High Court. So in the case of the National Human Rights Commission also, the removal procedure is almost similar. And coming to the powers of the National Human Rights Commission, they can inquire. They are, the main objective is protecting the rights of the people in all aspects, right? Therefore, they can inquire into the complaints regarding the human rights violation or the negligence of the public servants, and they can visit the jails and the detention centers to ensure the safety and the security of the people in prison or under the detention. And they can review the constitutional or legal safeguards to ensure and promote the human rights. They can conduct research, create awareness and about the human rights, and they can also organize human rights literacy campaigns. And because we can see that the negligence of the public servants, that means if the public servants fails to fulfill their responsibility, that is also human rights negligence, right? That is also human rights violation. But the reason is many people don't know this. So therefore, creating awareness is very important, and one of the objectives of the National Human Rights Commission is creating awareness, and they can also organize national human rights literacy camps. And they have a power of civil court because they can summon the people, examine witnesses, and they can receive evidence, and they can request for public orders to promote or to deal with any case. and these are the major powers of the National Human Rights Commission. Coming to the prelims practice question. So in this topic we discussed the basic facts about the National Human Rights Commission. What is the what is the status, what is the mandate, and who are the people in the National Human Rights Commission, and how they can be removed, what is it in. These are the basic facts regarding the Human Rights Commission. We have discussed all this. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is with reference to the National Human Rights Commission of India, which of the following statements is or are correct? Option A, it can punish the guilty in cases of human rights violation. It can only make recommendations, its decisions are not binding. Option C, it can file cases directly in courts without reference to government. Option D, it can enforce its orders through police action. So one of the powers of the National Human Rights Commission is the recommendation. They have advisory power. So they can make recommendations for better promotion of human rights, but these recommendations or the decisions are not binding. So this is one of the limitations of the National Human Rights Commission also. Therefore, in this question, the correct answer is option B. They can only make recommendation and its decisions are not binding. Yes, the correct answer is option B. With this, we will move to the next topic. Alaska earthquake. Tsunami warning issued after 7.3 magnitude quake. The article is taken from Indian Express. Recently, that is on 16 July, the Alaska experienced an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.3. And followed by this, the National Weather Service has issued tsunami warning to Aleutian Peninsula and Alaska. So in this background, let us discuss more about the phenomena tsunami from the prelims point of view. So we can see that recently, that is between July 8 and 10, the Central American nation Guatemala experienced a series of small and moderate earthquake with a magnitude ranging from 5.6 to 6. And now the Alaska is experiencing earthquake. What is the reason? The reason is in the picture. That is the ring of fire. All these regions are coming under the ring of fire. We know that ring of fire, it's a subduction zone where one plate will subduct beneath another plate. As a result, these regions will experience earthquake, volcanic eruption, and trenches will be formed in this region. For example, in the case of Alaska, we have Aleutian Range, and in the case of Guatemala, we have the Middle American Trench, and in the case of Japan, we have Japan Trench, Kuril Trench, Mariana Trench. So these are the major features of the ring of fire. And we can say that the reason behind the present earthquake in Guatemala and Alaska is tectonic. So coming to the tsunami definition and causes. Tsunami we have seen in many movies, including in 2012. Tsunami is a sudden sea wave caused by large water displacement. And the major reason includes underwater sea earthquake. That is the most common reason. In this, in the case of Alaska also, the earthquake near the sand point is the major reason behind the tsunami warning in the Alaska. The next is the volcanic eruption under the sea or in the ocean, and the next is the landslide under the water, and the next is the meteorite impact in the seas can sometimes trigger a tsunami. And what are the characteristics of the tsunami? First, the traveling speed. The waves can travel up to 800 km per hour in the deep ocean. We can see that the tsunami that we are seeing in the coastal area, it is nothing actually. Comparing with the deep ocean tsunami, this tsunami is actually nothing, because in the deep ocean, the tsunami, the waves will be more stronger and it will be more powerful. And the next is the low height at the sea rises near the coast. So you can see in this picture. So the height of the waves will be increasing as they reaches the coast. And the next is the series of waves, not just one. Sometimes the regions will experience multiple tsunami waves. The next is it can cause flooding and destruction near the shorelines. In 2004, India experienced the tsunami. And coming to the tsunami warning system of India, we have the Indian Tsunami Early Warning Center, which is located in Hyderabad, and it is working under the Ministry of Earth Science. And this center uses seismic sensors and a tide gauge to predict the possibility of tsunami and provides early warning in the Indian Ocean region. So in this topic, we discussed the basics about the tsunami. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, the Indian Tsunami Early Warning Center is located in Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kochi. See, the correct answer is option C. So it's a factual question. We so that it is located in Hyderabad and it is working under the Ministry of Earth Science, and it uses the seismic sensors and a tide gauge to predict the tsunami, the possibility of tsunami, and it will alert not only India, it will alert the Indian Ocean region. Yes, the correct answer is option C. With this, we will move to the next article. Shankar's visit to China reflects a thaw in ties. There will be challenges. Article is taken from Indian Express. On Tuesday, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization foreign ministers meeting was held in Beijing, in China. And in this meeting, our External Affairs Minister S. Shankar met the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping. And we can see that this is the first time the External Affairs Minister is visiting the China after the 2020 Galvan Valley incident. And within this 5 years, we can see that after the Galvan Valley incident, we can see that a lot of incidents which are indicating a normalization trend in the Indo-China relationship. So let us discuss more about this news article from the main's point of view. So we can see that the Foreign Affairs Ministers meeting was held in Beijing in China, and the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met the Chinese President Xi Jinping, the Finance Minister Wang Yi, and the CCP's Li Qingchao. He is, he is responsible for managing the international affairs, and this visit is aligning with the, Modi Xi Jinping interaction at the BRICS Summit 2024. So we can see that in the BRICS Summit, the Prime Minister and the Premier met. They interacted. That was the everyone in the international community was observing that, and we can also see that in the recent times, various high-level meeting was held between India and China. For example, the meeting of National Security Advisor with the Chinese officials, the meeting of the meeting of Defense Minister. So these are indicating, which was the Defense Minister meeting and the National Security Advisor meeting was held in 2024 last year. So these are indicating a normalization trend in the India-China relationship. And coming to the step towards normalization. So what are the signs we have? First is the restoration of direct India-China flights, and the next is the visa restrictions between the countries have eased, and the next is the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra set to resume. That means the pilgrimage is open and it will work as before, like the 2020 Galvan Valley incident. And the next is revised border patrolling has led to partial de-escalation. This is another issue. See, we have, like I mentioned last year, various meetings like the National Security Advisor meeting and Defense Minister meeting. So these high-level meetings have brought a temporary calm in the tension between the India and China. But the thing is that still the presence of military is there along the line of actual control, because so far we have achieved only partial de-escalation. And Jaishankar calls for a far-seeing lens in rebuilding ties. On other side, the Chinese officials are also showing the same attitude towards India, because they also need a partner to address the problem of the developing nations as well as the global south, because we can see that in the recent times the geopolitics is getting very unpredictable, especially because of the policies from the White House. And core challenges to full normalization. So what are the challenges towards achieving the full normalization? So we can see that within this 5 years, the high-level meeting, the meeting between Modi and Xi Jinping at the BRICS Summit 2024 have normalized the India-China relationship, but still there are certain challenges. First is the full troop de-escalation along the China line of actual control is still pending. After all these high-level meetings, still we could achieve only the partial de-escalation. The next is China restricts high-tech export and rare earth access, because we can see that China is still they are going forward with their Belt and Road initiative. Still they are expanding their monopoly over the rare earth minerals, not only in Asia, even in Africa and in Latin America. So these are, in another sense, these are indirectly leading to a competition between India and China. Right, and the next is the existing trade deficit, India's trade deficit with China. So India's trade deficit is currently at $100 billion. So this is making a competition more stronger between India and China. So this is in another sense still there is a potential that China can see India as a competitor rather than a partner, and on other side India may also have the same attitude of seeing China as a competitor rather than a partner. And the next is strategic concern over the China-Pakistan military cooperation, because here in the recent times we can see a change here also, because recently the Trump he met the Pakistan the army chief in the White House. So therefore this type of volatility in the relationship between the nations can raise concern and suspicion among the nations, including India and China. And the next is India flagged terrorism and extremism issues at the SCO. We can see that recently the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they released a document So in that document, there was no mention about the terrorism as a challenge, and this was questioned by India, and that resulted into a conflict between the India and Pakistan, because Pakistan neglected, they rejected the concept of state-sponsored terrorism, but on the other side, India wanted China to mention the state-sponsored terrorism or the state-backed terrorism as a challenge in the document. And strategic rationale for engagement. So we can see that, like I mentioned, recently the Trump, he met the Pakistan army chief in White House. So this, from this we can see, we can realize how much the global situation is volatile. So the global volatility and the unpredictable policies from the White House can affect India and China, equally. The next is Western sanctions on Russia-linked trade may affect both the nations. We can see that the sanctions on Russia can impact China and India, because both nations have a strong and friendly tie with Russia. And therefore, the pragmatic cooperation between the two nations will be mutually beneficial. And we can see that recently the Chinese foreign minister, he called for cooperative pass due. So this is a metaphor used to indicate a need for a strong relation between two partners. So therefore, we can see that the attitude from the Chinese side is also changing, which can be considered as a optimism. And the next is re-engagement helps India secure economic and strategic interest. Yes, Chinese trade is important because China, they are the biggest manufacturing hub of the world. Because we can see that all products across if you take any nations, any company's product, it will be manufactured in India. Therefore, the relation with that manufacturing hub is needed for India to ensure the economic growth, as well as to expand our economic and national strategic interest. And the next is the enduring challenges of asymmetry. So what are the challenges within normalization of India-China relationship? First is China sees India as a partner. So far we discussed what are the global challenges or what are the global needs that that calls for a strong India-China relationship. Now we are going to see what are the challenges within India-China engagement. So first is China sees India as a competitor, not a partner, because the interest, the objective, the intention of China is very different from India. Because we can see that they are expanding their monopoly over the materials and minerals. They are going forward with their Belt and Road Initiative, and which is indirectly affecting the largest infrastructure project of India, that is the Chabahar port. And on the other side, we can also see that China in the recent times, they also used debt trap policy. So this policy, one of the victims of this debt trap policy is nothing but Sri Lanka. And Pakistan is also a victim of this Chinese debt trap policy. So these type of actions from the Chinese side, or these type of intentions of the China can strengthen the competition between India and China rather than a partnership. And the next is Beijing's lead in artificial intelligence, quantum technique, and rare earth minerals. Like I mentioned, they are the biggest manufacturing hub. Recently, a few years back, they even attempted to manufacture an artificial sun, and currently they are going forward with their mega dam infrastructure project, and through that maybe in the future they can even use the water as a weapon. And coming to the rare earth minerals, we can say that they are expanding their monopoly in Africa and Latin America. And rising Chinese defense budget also raises suspicion and security risk for India, because we can see that even though the America is trying to revive their military tie with the Pakistan, on the other side China already established a strong tie with the Pakistan. So this is the increasing the defense budget can raise a suspicion between India and China. And the next is China expanding influence in the South Asia, including Bangladesh, because we can see that recently they expanded their influence in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, and now they are going into Bangladesh as well, because recently the Bangladesh Prime Minister, he met the Prime Minister of the temporary government, he met the Chinese officials. And India needs smart diplomacy, economic resilience, and regional outreach. Yes, we can see that in the recent times we can see the emergence of regionalism within international affairs. So this type of regionalism, so because of this regionalism, the nations are somehow they are acting against the globalization, because the globalization values are overridden by the personal motives like profit and all. So in this time we have to plan how we are going to approach this multipolar or this multi-alignment world order based on multi-alignment. So, and recently we have shifted our policy also. So this time we have to plan for smart diplomacy, and we also need to work on our economic resilience, because we cannot depend on, because of this regional motives, we cannot depend on any nations for a very long time. We can see that the present relation between the Russia and India is not like the relationship between India and the USSR existed in 1970s or 80s. So we can see the change. Therefore, we have to ensure our economic growth also. For that, we have launched a lot of projects like production linked incentive, and we have strengthened our mega project, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we have to push forward with these projects and initiatives. Then only we can achieve the economic resilience. And the regional outreach is also important, because we have to engage with the neighboring nations, even though their objectives, their intentions and alignments are different. So coming to the main practice. So in this topic we discussed a recent trend of normalization in India-China relationship. What are the challenges? What are the global challenges in it? What are the challenges between India and China? And then we also discussed how India can manage this situation. The situation means the world order based on regionalism, world order based based on actions against globalization, and what are the things we have to do. That also we discussed. So based on this, try to answer this mains practice question. The question is, the recent diplomatic outreach between India and China marks a cautious thaw in bilateral ties, yet structural challenges persist. Discuss. So it's a 10 marks question, and you have to write around 150 words, write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. Now it's time to move to the next topic. Hyper-nationalism prevents our foreign policy from asking tough questions. The article is taken from the Indian Express. So according to this article, there's a rise of nationalism in India's foreign policy, which is preventing India from taking strong stand in international affairs. So let us discuss more about this news article from the mains point of view. So to understand about this news article, we should have a basic understanding about the evolution of India's foreign policy. We know that India until 1947 was a British colony, and after that we got independence and we started nation building, and the period from 1950 to 1960s can be considered as a period of idealism in India's foreign policy. We know that that time the world was going through Cold War. Therefore, we adopted the principle of non-alignment movement. As per this, we will not join either USSR bloc or USA bloc. We will stand independently to ensure the international justice, equality, and peace, right? And the period from 1950s to 60s can be considered as a period of idealism, Nehruvian idealism. And after the Indo-China war, we changed our approach, that is from idealism to realism. And we can see that after in 1970s and 1980s, the Cold War started, the intensity started reducing, and we also made certain alterations in our approach towards international affairs. And finally in 1990s, we can see that the Cold War came to an end. That means the bipolar world came to an end, and the new world order was based on globalization, privatization and liberalization. So India also adopted the globalization, privatization and liberalization policies, and later we can see that in the multipolar world now we are going with the multi-alignment, right? And so if you take this evolution from the non-alignment to multi-alignment, we can see that the shift in the foreign policy was based on the global realities rather than hyper-nationalism, or it is not controlled by phenomena like hyper-nationalism or image management, cloud judgment. So we can see that this tradition, India has this tradition, and that is one of the factors why India was respected in international scenario. And according to this article, these days we can see a rise of hyper-nationalism in India's foreign policy and the image management cloud approach. This is preventing India from taking a strong stand, because we know that when during this time, for example, when Dutch came back to Indonesia to recapture Indonesia in 1949, India was one of the nations. That time India was an infant nation. Still India stood for Indonesia. India called Asia conference in Delhi. India that time called all the major powers, and including Australia, and asked them to stop Netherlands. So we have done such massive things in international scenario, and that is why India is respected. But these days the rise of nationalism in the Indian foreign policy is raising a lot of concerns. Let us discuss more. So we can see that one of the best examples is that in the recent times, after the Operation Sindoor, we expected a widespread support from various nations against terrorism. We are not saying that nations were not supporting; they supported openly, but in the backyard they were remaining silent. They couldn't take a strong stand against terrorism. Even today, many nations, including United States, they are not giving that much priority to the problem of terrorism as they done before. And you can see that recently when the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, when they published their document, they did not mention about terrorism. And the next is India realized that the military success of India cannot get much support and high moral ground. And how hyper-nationalism impacts the policy. So we can see that the first major issue is the moral ambiguity. So we can see that whenever we are, at that time, like I mentioned, when Dutch came back to reclaim the Indonesia, we stood against Dutch. Dutch was a superpower, was the biggest colonial power. But as an infant nation, India did not hesitate. India did not step back. India stood against Dutch. But we can see that these days India is remaining silent, on Ukraine, Russia, and Gaza issues. And the next is the neighborhood misreading. We can see that once we had a strong relation with China, once we had a strong relation with Sri Lanka, once we had a strong relation with Bangladesh, but these days we are losing it. Therefore, this is creating another major problem in India, especially in the power triangle of South Asia. The next is the nuclear anxiety. And we can see that one side, the America is reviving its military ties with Pakistan. China is also aligning with Pakistan. These are all superpowers with nuclear weapon. And the next is over dependence on USA. We can see that we have a trade relation with China, USA, but the problem is trade deficit of India. For example, with China, we have a deficit of nearly $100 billion. So this is affecting the internal autonomy of the government. And the next is internal propaganda. We can see that based on this hyper-nationalist ideas, various propagandas are spreading within the society, which is reducing the clarity of the real image. That is affecting the things which is preventing the people from seeing the things which are actually going on around. And what will be the impact of this increasing nationalism in the foreign policy? The first is the loss of moral leadership in global south. We can see that once when India was an infant nation, India was praised by several nations, including the superpowers like USA and the USSR. But these days we cannot see like such a position given by various nations to India. And the next is credibility crisis on terrorism and human rights. So we can see that various nations and various organizations, especially the think tanks in Western world, they are criticizing India for Jammu Kashmir issue, and at the same time exploitation of minorities and all. Sometimes they may be biased, but still there are issues going on. The next is diplomatic fatigue, defending inconsistent stance. So we can see that the best example is the case of Ukraine and Gaza. The next is strategic vulnerability from symbolic wins over long-term gains. So we cannot always depend on the symbolic win. That means once we used the non-alignment principle, that time we were respected in the Cold War era. And now after in this multi-alignment policy also, India is being praised by various nations. But the increasing hyper-nationalism, which is preventing the reality, which will not ensure a sustainable victory. And coming to the way forward, so what can be done? How we can address this issue? First is adopt true realism. So what we have to make sure, we make sure that everyone is seeing what is actually happening around. So that is first step we can take. And the next is rebuild moral leadership. That means taking a consistent stand on global issues. That means we should not remain independent. We should not remain silent in issues like Ukraine, Russia, or Gaza issue. And the next is re-engage with the neighborhood. We can see that these days we are losing our partners like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and all. We have to engage with them in all aspects, like diplomatically, economically, military. In all aspects we have to engage with them to build the trust and the cooperation. And the next is reduce over dependence by strengthening indigenous capacities. We can see that we have ties with USA and China, but the problem is trade deficit and dependence on them for various technology and products. So this has to be reduced. For that we need to increase our internal capacity for economic production. And the next is empower diplomacy. That means that is empowering or strengthening the diplomatic relation between the nations through open debate and professional leadership, rather than going with any biased ideas. So in this topic we discussed the rising trend of hyper-nationalism in India's foreign policy and how it is going to impact India, and we also saw what can be done. So based on this, try to answer this mains practice question. The question is, hyper-nationalism is preventing India's foreign policy from asking tough questions, critically analyze in the context of recent diplomatic setbacks. So it's a 15 marks question and you have to write around 250 words. Write the answer, post it in the comment section, we will review and we will reply for your answer. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you. Have a nice day.